Welcome! Have you ever watched a calm river or a smooth stream and wondered how water particles just seem to follow each other so perfectly, never colliding or crossing paths? Today, we're diving into the fascinating world of streamline flow, also called laminar flow. And here's a little joke to start us off. Why don't fluid particles ever argue? Because they always go with the flow. Now, what exactly is streamline flow? Fluid flow is called streamline or laminar, when every tiny particle of the fluid follows in the footsteps of the particle ahead, moving along the same path without mixing up. Imagine cars in a single-lane road, each car smoothly following the one before it, staying in line. In this kind of flow, the velocity of each particle is always tangent to the path it's following, so the velocity vector at any point is parallel to the direction of the streamline. These streamlines themselves are invisible curves drawn in the fluid, but their magic lies in this property. At any point on a streamline, if fx1, fx2, you draw a tangent. That tangent gives the exact direction in which the fluid moves right there. Pretty cool, right? What's more, if fx1 is fx2, the flow remains undisturbed by obstacles or sudden changes. The velocity of the fluid at a specific point stays constant in both speed and direction. This is unlike turbulent flows where things get messy. Also, there's a very important fact about streamlines. They never intersect one another. Each streamline forms a separate pathway or flow tube. Think of these as tiny water highways or tubes within the fluid, inside which the velocity of the fluid changes gradually but smoothly. So, streamline flow is orderly, steady, and predictable, keeping everything in its neat little lane. Ready to add a little math to our flow story? Don't worry, it's as smooth as the fluid itself. In two-dimensional steady flow, streamlines satisfy a special differential relation. It goes like this. The rate of change of y with respect to x, written as di by dx, equals the velocity component in the y direction divided by the velocity component in the x direction. In other words, di over dx equals y over vx. What this means is that the slope of the streamline curve at any point matches the direction of the velocity vector there. If fx1 traverses fx2, you know the velocity components vx and vy at different points in the flow field. You can actually find the equation of the streamlines by solving this differential equation. That's like plotting the path fluid particles take. When we take this idea into 3 dimensions in steady flow, streamlines form tubes that have a well-defined shape, and importantly, these tubes never cross each other because the velocity at each point in the fluid is unique. For incompressible fluids like water, the arrangement of these streamlines tells us more. When the streamlines are packed closely together, fluid speeds are high, like cars bumper to bumper on a highway. Conversely, when the streamlines spread out, the fluid slows down. So, the spacing of streamlines directly reflects the speed of flow in different regions. Now, let's see how streamline flow stacks up against its wild cousin, turbulent flow. Picture streamlined flow as a calm, orderly dance where everyone follows a neat routine and knows their steps, while turbulent flow is like a chaotic crowd at a rock concert with people moving in all directions unpredictably. Streamline flow is smooth and laminar, where velocities at every point are steady and orderly. But when the fluid moves faster than a certain critical speed, this calm dance breaks down and the flow becomes turbulent, with random velocity fluctuations popping up everywhere. This critical speed, or critical velocity, depends on the fluid's properties and the shape or size of the passage it moves through. How do engineers and scientists predict this change? They use the Reynolds number, denoted as Re, which is the ratio of inertial forces to viscous forces in a fluid. The formula goes like this. Reynolds number equals Rho times V times D divided by ETA, where Rho is the fluid density in kilograms per cubic meter, V is the flow velocity in meters per second, D is the diameter of the pipe in meters, and eta is the viscosity in Pascal seconds. If f of x1 equals f of x2 Reynolds number is less than 2000, flow stays laminar and predictable. Above 3000, it turns turbulent and wild. Between 2000 and 3000, the flow is in a transition zone, a kind of either-or region where the flow might switch states depending on tiny changes. Imagine this as your fluid deciding between a calm river or a raging rapids. In the comparison diagram, you might see labeled figure 9.12. The streamlined flow side shows smooth parallel lines flowing evenly, while the turbulent flow side is a messy tangle of lines swirling everywhere, kind of like the difference between a well-behaved classroom and a playground at recess. Let's now connect these streamlines to something we can measure easily. Flow rate. Imagine water moving through a pipe that narrows at some point. In streamline flow, the mass of fluid passing through any cross-section stays constant. This means the product of the cross-sectional area and the fluid velocity remains the same all along the pipe, assuming the fluid is incompressible and flow steady. Mathematically, this is our famous equation of continuity, written as a sub 1 times V sub 1 equals A sub 2 times a V sub 2, where A represents the cross-sectional area and V the velocity at two different positions, 1 and 2, along the pipe. So, if f of x1 equals f of x2, the area decreases. The velocity must increase to keep the mass flow constant. It's like a crowd squeezing into a narrower hallway. People speed up to keep moving through. This inverse relationship between area and velocity is the key principle behind many everyday devices, like the Venturi effect. The Venturi tube uses this principle to measure flow speed or control fluid pressure by narrowing the pipe, making the fluid speed up. If f of x1 equals f of x2, you look at the diagram labeled figure 9.13, you'll see a pipe with two sections, one wide section marked A1 with fluid speed V1, and a narrower section labeled A2 where the velocity is version 2. The flow lines, streamlines, get closer together in the narrow section, visualizing this increase in velocity. Let's put theory into practice with a quick example. Suppose a fluid flows through a pipe that narrows. The area of the wider section, A1, is 30 square centimeters, and the fluid velocity there, V1, is 1.5 meters per second. The area at the narrow section, A2, is 10 square centimeters. We want to find the fluid velocity at the narrow section, V2. Using the continuity equation, A1 times V1 equals A, 2 times V2, we rearrange it to find V2 as A1 times V1 divided by A2. Plugging in the numbers, V2 equals 30 times 1.5 divided by 10. Doing the math, V2 equals 4.5 meters per second. So, the velocity of the fluid speeds up to 4.5 meters per second in the narrow section. This perfectly matches our expectation from conservation of mass in incompressible flow. As the pipe narrows, fluid flows faster. Now, let's talk about stream tubes, a neat concept that helps us visualize and analyze fluid flow. A stream tube is formed by a group of streamlines bundled together, creating an imaginary pipe or conduit through which the fluid flows. What's fascinating is that fluid cannot cross the walls of this stream tube because the velocity vector of the fluid is always tangent to the tube's surface. In fact, the velocity vector is perpendicular to the tube walls, meaning the fluid flows strictly along the tube, never leaking out or crossing boundaries. Imagine the streamlines as invisible fences guiding the fluid along specific routes. This confinement makes stream tubes very useful when analyzing localized flow behavior in complex systems, like blood flow in arteries or air circulation around airplane wings. For steady and incompressible flows, if f of x1 equals f of x2, the cross-sectional area of the stream tube decreases. The velocity inside increases inversely, just like in pipes. Picture a diagram showing a bundle of streamlines forming a tube with labeled boundaries, inflow on one end and outflow on the other. The fluid moves smoothly inside this tube, highlighting the idea that these stream tubes act like fluid highways, organizing the flow. Let's wrap up what we've learned today about streamline flow. First, remember that a streamline is a path in the fluid, where the tangent at any point gives the exact direction of velocity. In 2 dimensions, the slope of the streamline satisfies dy over dx equals vy over vx, That tells us how the streamline curves. Next, the equation of continuity, A1 times V1 equals A2 times V2, reminds us that in incompressible flow, the product of cross-sectional area and velocity remains constant. The Reynolds number, defined as RHO times V times D divided by ETA, helps us predict whether flow will be smooth and laminar or become chaotic and turbulent. Streamline flow is orderly and predictable, often seen at low speeds or in fluids with higher viscosity. We saw how velocity increases as the flow channel narrows, conserving mass flux. Stream tubes help us visualize and analyze flow by confining the fluid within invisible boundaries. Finally, the transition to turbulent flow happens beyond the critical Reynolds number, marking the boundary between calm and chaotic fluid motion. And that's it for today's exciting dive into streamline flow. Physics isn't just about numbers and formulas. It's about understanding the beautiful dance of particles that's happening all around us. Until next time, keep flowing with curiosity.